Hey, what's up? We are here finally with our Season 3 Paladins ranked support tier list. Now, let me explain this real quick. You guys have seen tier lists before. It's nothing different. We're going to go over supports. We're going to talk about who's the best for ranked. And the reason why it took so long is I really wanted to know what I was talking about so I could give you the correct information and really give you my true opinions of where I think supports are. We've been streaming scrims, so I've really had a good idea via scrims where these support champions are and where they should be played. In this tier list, you can see it on screen. S, S, SS, S, A, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's talk about some of this real quick. B is balanced. So the B right in the middle there is going to be they are in a good spot. They're solid. That's the middle of the list. SS is completely OP. F is unplayable. So anything in between is just kind of like rating them from balanced up to OP. So this tier list is simple. These are all my opinions. I know you're going to disagree with this. I know some of you will disagree. I know some of you will agree. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think of the tier list and where you think things are. This is going to be based on ranked competitive. This is going to be a mid to high level tier list. This isn't going to be for your basic average new player. This is something you take into your diamond games, your masters games, even your plat games, and really pick the best supports for those games. So with that being said, there's a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it. First being Furia. Furia's OP right now. She is by far the best support in the game. Cherish Furia is insane. With the right build, the right play style, you can carry every single ranked game. If you are going to pick a support in rank to carry, you pick Furia. If you want to see a guide on Furia, make sure you check up in the corner and the eye to see the guide and really how you can carry on her. But she is going to go in S for those reasons. Her damage is insane, her ultimate's insane, her attack speed, her utility, her healing, everything about her is insane right now. All they had to do is reduce her cooldown by 1 second on her right click, and they got rid of her card that reduced her cooldown, but they basically put that into her base kit. So now she has 5 free points open to put into her loadouts. That has made her absolutely insane. Plus, they didn't change her healing much, so her healing's still okay. Cherish isn't her problem why she's so good. Honestly, is her ultimate and her attack speed and her passive. Her passive is a useless thing. As I talked about in the guide, it needs to be changed a little bit. But Furia's S, if you're going to carry ranked and you want to carry ranked, pick Furia right now. Grok. So I have mixed feelings on Grok. I think Totem Grok could be good as an off support, but I mean, I don't think it's amazing. I haven't played around with it, but I think it has some viability. And I think Spirit's Domain is viable. I mean, I don't think at a higher level you should be running it because good players punish you because you have no self-sustain. So we are going to put him at B-. I don't think he's bad, honestly. I don't think he's terrible, but then again, I don't think he is amazing. I think he can be played, but he is not competitively viable. You're going to get punished by better players by running Grok, and especially with Spirit's Domain. You have to use your totem for self-sustain, and if your totem's dead, you have nothing. Short range healer, doesn't have much going for him in range. His ultimate is really what helps him as a support. If he didn't have as good of his ultimate as he did, he would be awful, but his healing numbers are insane. I did put up a ranked game that had 300k healing, but again, I always talk about how healing isn't everything in Paladins. Grok dies very easily. He's at B-. Grover. Grover's an interesting one because we're going to put him where he is, but there are some stipulations behind this placement. Grover is B+. Grover is strong, but he is not OP. And he is strong on certain maps. Now let's talk about those maps before we talk about the rest. Grover, best maps, Ice Mines and Stonekeep. You play Grover on those 2 maps, you will feel very powerful with him. His good maps, I would say you could pick him on these maps and really get away with it. Bright Marsh, Jag, Splitstone, and Serpent. Splitstone is typically good for Grover because you have your high ground and their high ground. Grover can heal your high ground without actually peeking them, and he can stay in that little bend area and spam their high ground, spam across quarry. He's pretty good on Splitstone. Serpent and the rest, he's good spam, and they're tight, they're closer maps, so you can heal everybody at once. But what makes Grover very good is his ultimate right now. His ultimate, it just, even with COT 3, still has a huge impact from early game to late game. Grover has massive impact of that, and he now has a viable option from going Deep Roots and Rampant Blooming. Rampant Blooming is still good. You can run Rampant Blooming and get away with it. But you can also run Deep Roots if your team has no CC and force their team to get Resilience. You can set up a ton of kills with Deep Roots. I personally have been running Rampant Blooming in ranked because I don't think teammates follow up on the kills when he comes to deep roots. Though I have been running deep roots in competitive and scrims and stuff. So Grover, I think on those about 6 maps, I think he's B+. On other maps, I'd say B, B-. But Grover, he is a strong champion currently. Next is from SS to Destruction, Io. Io does not feel good right now. The changes they made to Io basically increased her Moonlight capacity, her card, which is great, but they decreased her healing so much that she spends 90% of her time healing. She feels awful to play, and even, I don't know if you knew this, but with Goddess Blessing is still 25% DR. It is bugged. It is supposed to be 15. Even with 25%, still, she does not feel good. She isn't a good support to play right now, and she just doesn't feel good to play. She might be okay, but again, I want to cry every time I play her. She's going to go into B- with Grok. I know, I'm putting Io with Grok. I do not like the champion currently in her current state. Now, this might be a little personal bias because I do not enjoy her right now, but she is not that strong. If anything, I put her B-. I'm going to keep her at B-. She isn't fun to play, and she's not that good, so she's going to stay B-. Next, Genos. Genos is very strong right now. He is nothing special, but he's nothing to mess with. We're going to put him at A. Now, the reason why Furia is better, because Furia is the counter to Genos. Now, what do I mean by that? You pick Furia into Genos when you have compositions that are aggressive, right? They have a Genos, they have a slow comp, you have a fast comp, like a tank like Ruckus, Barrack, you have DPS, a flank and a Cassie. You know, you have fast DPS who can dive. When you pop Furia ult, you usually want an aggressive team. Furia counters Genos. That's why she is higher, and she's just insanely good with her damage and utility. But Genos is very strong in ranked. He sets up characters like Koga, Xin, any flanker, honestly. Mainly Koga. Koga he sets up extremely well. But if you have 2 tanks like Terminus and Nari, you can't really run the Genos, right? So with most compositions, Genos is insanely good. You pick Furia, you pick Genos, you're going to be doing good in ranked. You have to make sure, though, when you pick Genos, you don't have those 2 super tanky tanks, and you're going to be fine with him. He's in a good spot. His damage amp is still amazing. His healing got nerfed, but it still feels alright. And honestly, Cauterize doesn't affect it as much anymore. It's already a low healing number. You're picking Genos for a damage amp bot. That's all. Next is Dama. Oh, man. So, I've said in the past, Dama was the pinnacle of balance in Paladins. I don't think that anymore. I think Dama is not that good, but I don't think he's awful. I hate his new Gourd State playstyle. Absolutely hate it. I cannot stand playing him nowadays. And honestly, it makes me super sad. There's a new pinnacle of balance that we'll talk about later. But Dama is not the pinnacle of balance, even though we're going to put him at the pinnacle of balance, B. I think he's in an okay spot right now. I do think he needs healing buffs to his right click. You can't really buff his Gourd. I think his right click needs a healing buff for him to feel good again. Spirits Chosen versus Gourd, though, I would have to say Gourd. Or like, I think you can run both, honestly. If you have a points tack comp or you have a Terminus or a Nara on point, Gourd feels okay, but you can still run Spirits Chosen and get away with it. Dama does not feel amazing. His utility is, though, good because of resilience got nerfed. His stun, his ulti all feel amazing, but his healing is just literally not enough to keep people alive, and you feel useless. Unless you have ultimate, you hit a good stun, you're useless in team fights. Dama used to be the pinnacle of balance, now needs buff to him. Next is Pip the Furry himself. Now, Pip is an interesting one. I think there's one talent in particular that really puts him where he is on this tier list. Combat Medic. Combat Medic is good, and it feels good right now. The healing is good, but it's a very, very high-skilled talent. You really have to practice with Combat Medic to be good with it, and it's not good on all maps, and it's only really good on 2 maps, in my opinion. You can run on other maps, but these are very efficient maps for it. Those maps being Bright Marsh and Serpent, and if you run Combat Medic on those maps, we're going to put him at B. I think anything else, he could B-. Now, Mega Potion feels good, but isn't great for a main healer. You can run off-support Pip with Mega Potion, running the new Acrobatics trick. That is a possibility, but Combat Medic is the way on those maps. Any other map does not feel amazing on him, and I don't know. His ultimate is strong right now. His slow is strong, so I want him to go higher, but if he wasn't so limited by his high skill on Combat Medic and his map dependencies, I would put him higher, but Pip, B for now. Good champion with Combat Medic, not amazing. Next, Saris. Oh, Saris. She's at C. She sucks. Don't pick her in ranked. Do not pick her at high level ranked. You are throwing games. I'm sorry. I love you guys. But let me explain this here because I've explained this 1,000 times. Saris is a new player-friendly champion. That's why she went free to play too. She's very easy for new players to pick up and play. She is the new player support, and that's why you probably think she's really good, because you are a newer player, which I totally understand. And she's perfect for you to learn support mechanics, but at some point you have to transition out of Saris into higher level supports like the Furia, the Genos, the Grover. You have to transition out at some point to really climb the ranks. Saris is very good up until probably about gold. But past then, players get better, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to save your team or peel for them or damage the enemies, and people know how to counter her ulti at higher levels. So if you are a newer player, Saris is good in ranked. But since this is a mid to high tier list, don't pick Saris ever. I'm going to be honest. I could see 1 to 2 situations where Saris could be picked, but that's it. Sometimes on Timbermill, if you have a very, very passive comp, and if they have Ying, that's sometimes why I see Saris picked, and Frog Isle, the same thing. But there's so many picks on Frog before Saris, so I just don't pick her in ranked at high levels, guys. I'm sorry. I know you love Saris, but what can you do? Next, Ying. I said it earlier. There is a new pinnacle of balance, and that has to be Ying. Ying is a very strong champion right now. She's nothing to be messed with. On basically all maps, she is strong. She has strong healing output, strong damage, and a strong ultimate. She has no utility, which limits her as a support. But what makes up for that is her ultimate. Her ultimate is a global heal she puts on people, and it just does a ton of healing, and it scales. Again, like Grover ulti, it scales better late game because the cauterize changes. Ying was not nerfed on her ultimate with the new changes. So you buy morale boost first on her, and you spam ultis every time you get it in point fights. Boom, you ult. Boom, you ult. You change a point fight. You win the point fight. Her healing is very good still. They both receive nerfs, her clone healing and her right-click healing, but she feels amazing. She is going to go at B+. She is the pinnacle of balance for supports, and supports should be balanced around Ying. Support should be brought down to her level or brought up to her level. Again, that used to be Dama, but it has finally changed, and it's not Dama anymore. It's Ying. Ying feels amazing. You should check her out. Try to play her. I honestly love playing Ying right now. She is very fun to play. And yeah, that is it for the tier list. That is my support tier list for season 3. But that's not all. All right, I was just kidding. That's not all. I have to debate you guys every time because you're like, you gotta pick these champions, add these to the tier list, Max. Okay, all right. All right, listen. This first one is a legitimate pick as an off support, okay? Skye. Skye is in a very strong spot when it comes to healing, not gonna lie, and utility. So I would actually put Skye at B as an off support. She is extremely strong as an off support, and if you pair her with like a Genos, you can actually win games very easily with her. I just put Skye at B with Dama and Pip. Isn't that crazy? What a meta we're in! But she is strong with smoke and daggers. She actually is a viable off support, and I would pick her in my rank games. If I have a Genos on my team and I have an Inara or Terminus or a Khan off tank, you can go anywhere with the Skye's heal and just pocket 1 or 2 tanks or a tank and a DPS with you and frag out, because Skye still does a ton of damage. Skye is a strong off support. What a world we live in, right? Okay, so the rest, you guys, put in Khan, F. Why? Why would you ever run Khan as a healer? Quit being dumb. Moji, come on. Like, you guys tell me to do this stuff. Rom's not even on this one. He's literally not even on this list. But Subservience, it sucks. All right? Don't run it as a support. I tried, and I wanted to making a meta on it, but it's so bad that, like, I wanted to cry. But there is one more viable one I guess you could put in this tier list. Torvald. Now, he is the strongest tank right now and technically one of the strongest supports because he's a support tank. If I were to place him on this tier list, I'd have to put him at A. If you're counting him as a support, he is kind of first pick, first ban potential. So is Furia currently. I would honestly, I'd put him at S. He is a tank, but he can technically be counted as a support. With the record changes, I don't know. Torvald's very strong. But if we're gonna count him as a support, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna put him at S with Furia. Now, I know this was a late addition to the tier list, at S, but I don't know if you can technically count him as a support. Like I said, he is a tank, but he is a tanky support. So, that is now it for the tier list. I hope you all enjoyed. This is my opinions. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week, about Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, one day next week, we're going to be releasing our full Season 3 tier list for Paladins. And this is going to include every single champion. We're going to rate them, and I'm going to tell you where I think. Again, sorry these took so long, but I really wanted to have a good idea on the meta so I can give you my true, honest, and the best opinion I can. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, or whatever it is where you live. And I will see your beautiful faces in the next one. I'll see you guys. And a huge shout out to my members: Banana Bob, Branch Fam 805, Clayton Nabidi, Dark Phantom, Jay, Mason Lane, Sivas, Raph, Just Creepies, Bizwa, Connor, Shadow, and to all my other members, thank you so much.